I'm really happy to be here. It's such an amazing place. I've been affiliated with AAAS as a fellow and a member since graduate school, and to come to the Mecca is pretty cool, really great. I'm going to talk something about a little different today than I normally talk about. But I am Paul Sanberg, and I'm a neuroscientist, I'm an administrator, and I'm an inventor. And I walk a line, a very difficult line sometimes, but I walk one where I'm an academic, have been fairly successful, administrator, dealing with traditional avenues, and I walk an inventor line within an academic community. And a lot of times, those go like that. But on the inventor side, it's been underappreciated. And so it's been something that's been inside of me that I wanted for years to try to express more and more. A lot of inventors in this country, and here's of course Thomas Edison. I learned today that he started Science magazine, which I did not know. Fantastic. And many inventors are cherished in society, but within academic institutions, it's not the case. But one thing that I think is so important is that when you look at the prior inventors, they invented, they had their moments, but they have worked so hard with perspiration to take them to where they have gotten to, and it's fantastic. And that's one thing Edison really expelled. But I think about academic inventors, one of the problems is it's a matter of perception. It's a matter of that that most faculty aren't trained, most academics aren't trained, most students don't understand the process of invention, and they're just perceived differently. And so I think that's one of the big issues. Let me tell you a little bit about my inventor experience, which is really so much the same as my research experience. And it's not about me, this talk so much in the sense of as an inventor per se, but this is my dad, great inspiration. That's me, Vinod. I had a mustache at one time. But I think one of the most important things here is that shortly after this, he had severe cardiovascular problems and for years had multiple strokes and bypass and all sorts of things. And his last years were not great. And having him as a role model in my life and being a brain scientist and someone who had worked on Parkinson's disease and other diseases, I felt that I needed to focus my lab on stroke. So from that point, we started working solely on stroke research. And all I'm going to show you here is that one of the highlights of my research career has been to take our work on making a cell line of neural cells and injecting them into a stroked area of a stroke patient. In this case, Alma Saraceni, a healthcare worker, was a pioneer, the first patient ever to receive a cell line, let alone into stroke. And this is with Doug Konzioka, the surgeon, who's now the vice chair at NYU. And that led to patents, that led to companies, it led to a lot of stroke trials that are ongoing in many different areas in this world. And it all stemmed, I think, a lot of it from my father. But I'm an inventor. I have about nearly 40 US patents. As Paul said, our initials are PS, and for some reason PS got new patents issued today. So that was pretty exciting. And the interesting thing about that is that we submitted those both in 2005. It took 9 years to get those patents. Very difficult in that case. So, academic invention is often unrecognized, unrewarded. And let me tell you a story. I have had a physicist who came to me, for an example, and bright person who started a company, had patents, and came up and said, you know what, I need to shut down my company. I can't focus on this anymore because I'm coming up for tenure in the physics department, and I've got to be traditional. I've got to publish a parish. I've got to do the right things. I've got 2 kids. I've got to support a family, and it is not appreciated by my colleagues. Because, of course, in academics, tenure is voted by your colleagues. So that's really the first one on the left, where my secretary made me look like Alfred Hitchcock there in short. But that's okay. That's another story. Then there's another story which is so important, and that is one of a dancer, not just a scientist, but a dancer, a ballet dancer, one of the best dancers I've ever seen, who came to me and said, my father's been in a wheelchair, and I have devoted so much time working with the engineers in the world and trying to find a dancing wheelchair. And she actually was able to make a dancing wheelchair where these people could sit on this wheelchair and their movement caused the wheelchair to go in all different directions and they could freely flow through. I'm not a dancer, so don't take that wrong way. But they could freely dance. And it's been a great invention for her. It's being marketed and all this. But you know what? She went for promotion in the dance department. And because she was outside the norm and potentially making money and all these kinds of things, she was not given promotion. How horrible is that? And yet she brings a lot of fame and a lot of things. She was actually in the latest Reader's Digest, like 25th in Neat Invention or something. It was pretty cool. It's also with senior people. Here's a mentor of mine, one of the people I thought was a god years ago, still is. He went, and when I published a paper recently with some colleagues in PNAS on academic culture, he basically said, you know, historically I was denigrated and not celebrated, and many of us were. And he was one of the pioneers of being entrepreneurial in this field. Now hopefully that's changed. Clearly at his university it's changed in many ways, but it's at all facets of academics. So for years I would hear, stop wasting time on all that invention stuff, okay? Publish or perish, get grants, teach, advise, serve on committees, kiss ass, whatever you want to say. Pardon my language. But the important thing here is that follow the norm. So, okay? So one of the things I thought was, I'm okay balancing budgets in our laboratory. Perhaps I could become a good administrator. So I went up and I eventually went into senior administration. But I did that so I could join the group and help make changes and help really from the inside to make changes to try to make it that when you are an inventor, that it is cherished and appreciated. I was concerned about other inventors. What do they have encountered? And also there was so much at stake. If we had this kind of inhibition on our academic inventors over hundreds of years in academia, could you imagine if it wasn't there, how much more we could have created? Okay, and it's no problem to start now, because think about all the things we could create now by giving them the freedom to operate in what they want to do. So I came out of the inventor's closet, and I'm glad I did. Okay, this is so important. And what I wanted to do then, because I was worried about others, was there anyone else in that closet? Actually, I didn't see anyone else in my closet, but was there anyone else in that closet? So I did something. I said, I'm going to start a little Academy of Inventors at our university, and I'm hoping that some folks will come, and they will come to this lunch, and hopefully we'll have some inventors at USF. I had no idea if you had a U.S. patent, because if you got a U.S. patent in those days, you went outside the norm, okay? And so I had no idea, was it going to be 10 people? If it was 10 people, then I'd kind of, well, this is not a big deal. I might as well just move on to get some NIH grants or something. Was it 20 people? Well, okay. You know, was it 50 people? Oh, that would be exciting. Then I'd have 50 other inventors at my university I could talk to that we could share stories and we can work together and actually be more creative. So we had that lunch. We had 130 show up at a pretty good university, but it's not, you know, it's a mid-level state university that's known for entrepreneurship, but 130 show up. It blew me away. And we had a great opportunity. You know what was amazing about that lunch? That lunch was so exciting because all of us got to know each other. The marine science faculty that invented things, in the arts, the humanities, the sciences, physics, medicine. It was just amazing. And what it did is it encouraged then faculty, staff, students that, you know what, we're here. And if you want to do invention and translate your research from the ivory tower out to society and benefit society in many ways, then you can do it. We now have over 290 faculty at our university that have 2,900 patents. It's amazing. So the rest is history. So I went to the USPTO, and thank you for coming here. And we talked, people had heard about what had happened. Now, if this had been a higher level university, an MIT, that this is kind of in their culture, probably wouldn't have happened so much. But to be where we were and to outpace many other places, we're now still ranked for the last 4 years in the top 15 in the world for patents and things. People said, well, how'd you do it? In fact, one of my best friends, who's executive vice president at Georgetown, said the same thing here. And so we went to the USPTO and we talked about a National Academy of Inventors. They had not had a group of academics that they'd worked with. They worked with garage inventors and company inventors. And so we worked with them. We developed this National Academy of Inventors. In just 3 or 4 years, we have over 3,000 members, 200 research universities and institutes, and we have a great fellows program, which we feel is on par with the National Academies, which was launched in 2012 in consultation with the Secretary of Commerce, the head of the Patent Office. And we now have 244 fellows. These are all great academic inventors at the highest level that hold 9,000 patents, have started multiple companies, have done great stuff. So, we have this fellows program. I think it's great. I hope that the applications have opened up, so if you know of anyone, please have them apply. But we had a great champion in Margaret Foccarino, who is the Commissioner of Patents just down the road here. And we do a plaque that's on permanent display at the federal building there. And we really honor at the government level our fellows, and it's a wonderful thing. We have a great annual meeting. And the annual meeting brings all these inventors together, plus these characters here in the pictures. Can you see those? There's Yolanda and Sabira. Yeah. And here's Elizabeth, too, from the USPTO. But I think what's so great is that we couldn't do this without partners. And AAAS has been a great partner. They've been on our selection committee as well. Alan Leshner wrote for our first meeting, the first welcome letter for our thing. We have the Lemelson Foundation, Carol Dahl, thank you so much, USPTO, and many others as our partners. But everyone down in this bottom picture are incredible, incredible inventors of this country that are helping move things forward. We publish a number of white papers on this. We deal with what are the top 100 universities now to try to show that university patenting and licensing startup companies is absolutely vital for this country. So now, I told you what it was like before, but now an inventor who wears this pin in many campuses, especially ours, this pin here, this is my AAAS pin, but that pin, are considered rock stars. They walk around. I had an OBGYN faculty member come up to me, and he goes, Paul, I submitted a patent. I'm so excited. Maybe in 3 or 4 years I'll get my pin, because it'll be issued. This is just a great change in academia that we've seen. And they've received more recognition. They've received more rewards. And, of course, the pin symbolizes this idea of innovation moves the world, which is a great thing. But wait, there's more. Get out your credit cards. Actually, coming out of the inventor's closet provides the freedom to be creative in an academic environment, as I told you. Just incredible freedom now, as well as in everyday life. And this is what surprised me, is my way of looking at life now is so different. And let me give you one last example. Okay, so I'm following my wife home from work. She's in her car, I'm in my car, and we're driving down the road in Tampa, Florida. Hopefully it wasn't summer where it rains every afternoon like crazy. But we're driving down there, and what was interesting is she saw me finally through her rearview mirror. She took her wiper blade in the back of her SUV, and she went like that to say hi to me. And I said, oh, that's so cute. And I thought, you know what? What if there was a hand on that? That'd be so cool. I could do that to lots of people and stuff. So, having taken so many tours through the USPTO patent office and learning about different kinds of patents and design patents and everything, and getting tired of waiting 9 years to get an issued biotechnology patent, I thought of this idea. And in fact, we came up, this was 2 weeks ago, I got my first patents issued on a hand that goes on the back of a wiper blade, and it has different ones. This is A-OK. We also have peace. We also have a number of other things. No, now, I learned that you cannot do any obscenities with the USPTO. Doesn't mean you can't have a hand that you can cut out fingers. That's okay, too. All right, so we have that, And that was just fun, but it made me look at life a little bit more creatively. And so I want to thank you all for allowing me to be here. And everyone have a good time. Thank you.